guys, today Emmylou the art dog and I are going to read you a very special book. It's called Just One Wish, and I'm very fond of this book, and it has a wonderful lesson, and I'm going to see if you can figure out the lesson. I think you might figure it out before I'm even done, but let's give it a whirl. It's illustrated with watercolor. Let me have a watercolor example to show you. Several watercolor examples. So I'm going to do my project in marker today because we always have a choice in our Art at Home series. And we always choose what works with our supplies. Just One Wish by Arcadio Lobato. There was once a small village far to the south, a long way from other towns. It was a poor village, so the people had to work hard. Even so, everyone helped each other, and it was a happy place to live. As they went about their work each day, the grown-ups often stopped to chat with each other in the narrow streets, and in the shady gardens behind the houses, the children laughed and played. Outside the village, a young boy named Stefan lived with his grandmother. Every morning, he would set out with his flock of goats over the sun-baked hills to find food and water for them. And through the day, the people of the village could hear him playing his shepherd's flute. Stefan liked his work, but best of all, he liked the quiet evenings at home, for his grandmother loved to tell him stories and teach him about the stars. One day, up in the hills, Stefan saw a bright light shining from a clump of grass. There on the ground was a glowing crystal ball. Carefully, he took the ball in his hands and turned it over and over. It was bright like a small fire, but it was cool and smooth like water in a stream. Suddenly he heard a low voice from inside the ball. "I shall grant you a wish, but only one," it whispered. "Whatever you wish will be fulfilled." Stefan could hardly believe his ears. A wish? What should it be? So many things would be fun, but with just one wish it must be something very special. Maybe he should learn to fly, or perhaps sail on a ship across the oceans. "I'll wait till tomorrow," he said to himself. "I need some time to think about this." He put the ball in his shepherd's bag, rounded up his goats, and went home. And he kept his magic ball a secret. The next day, it was just as hard to pick only one wish. Nothing seemed to be worth enough. 3 days, 4 days, still no wish. Sometimes Stefan would take out the crystal ball and turn it over and over in his hands and listen to the little voice. But his days passed as always, and in the evenings, just like always, his grandmother told him stories and taught him about the stars. And Stefan was very happy. In fact, Stefan was so happy that some of the people in the village started wondering and whispering about him. One day, a boy from the village followed Stefan out into the hills and hid himself behind an olive tree to watch. He saw Stefan take something out of his bag and look at it for a long time. The boy waited until Stefan fell asleep, and then he took the crystal ball from Stefan's pouch and ran back to the village with it. The boy called everyone together and showed them Stefan's crystal ball. The people were amazed, and they passed the glowing crystal ball from one person to another. Then one man held it and turned it over and over in his hands, and suddenly they heard the voice offering him one wish. Right away the man shouted, "I want to have a sack full of gold." His neighbor pulled the ball from his hands and yelled, "I want 2 huge boxes of jewels." The ball was grabbed and pushed and pulled from one person to the next. People wished for castles instead of huts, chests full of diamonds, cartloads of pearls, and bushels and barrels and barns filled with gold. In minutes, the simple village was changed into a grand city of great riches. Instead of old houses, there were beautiful palaces with golden doors. Instead of pushcarts and wheelbarrows, there were carriages and coaches. Everyone marveled at how rich they were, and people jumped for joy. But soon there was trouble. The man who had wished for a sack of gold was jealous of the woman who had 2 sacks of jewels, and the lady with the jewels was jealous of the man who had asked for a castle. People became suspicious and angry, and they didn't stop to talk with each other on the streets anymore. And what about the children? No one had thought of wishing for things like gardens and parks and libraries and playgrounds, so there was no place to play and nowhere fun to go. Everyone was bored and sad. In the evenings, as Stefan walked home, the children looked down from the castles to see him skipping along behind his goats, and they could hear the sound of his flute. He was still so happy and cheerful, and they all wondered, what beautiful thing had he wished for? The children just had to know what Stefan had wished for, so they went out of the town to find him, and the grown-ups followed along too. They found Stefan near his house, and the little boy who had taken the ball from Stefan spoke first. When we lived in our old village, we were all happy. Why did everything change? And the man who had made the first wish said, what good are all of our palaces and jewels if we're not happy? Please tell us what you wished for, Stefan. Me? Oh, well, I didn't make any wish at all, said Stefan. But if you like, I think I can make a wish that will help make everyone happy again. Yes, yes, cried the people, and the children clapped their hands. So Stefan held the ball in his hands, and he said, I wish that things would be the way they were before I found the crystal ball. Everyone ran back to the village. There they found the same comfortable little village they used to live in. The same houses, the same narrow, cheerful streets, and the same shady gardens blooming with flowers and trees. Now the people of Stefan's village are happy again. They work hard, but they have their families and their friends, and they have all they need. The children play in the gardens again, and in the evenings the tender melodies of the shepherd's flute spread over the countryside like a smile. So Stefan made a wish to help other people instead of wishing for things for himself. So he gave back to his community. Let me show you my examples. I have a lot of them. I really like this story because I think it has a very, very important lesson. So here I was wishing for no more violence and peace, and that we would solve our problems with words. And I have children from all over the world, different heritages, different styles of dress, all being unified. I must have been hungry when I drew this one because I wished for a hamburger and French fries and a salad. I must have been very hungry that day. Here I was wishing for more sleep. I must have been tired. Here I was wishing for respect in the art room. These aren't done, as you can see. This one was about my 3 children, August, Nikolai, and Francesca. I'm wishing that we had a house full of happiness and love. This one, I was wishing to live in a tree house. So here, I'm going to do a small one today so that my demonstration is faster. And we're doing art at home, so we don't always have the same tools we might have in the art room. And I wanted a circle, so I decided to use this cake pan. It was the perfect size for this paper. I did save a pizza cardboard the other day, but that's too big for this little paper. And I'm going to do another one about the world. And this one is that the world would have peace and health, because our world is struggling right now. And so I decided to make this wish be about health. That we would all have health, global health all over the world. I think that would really help us right now. Okay, you know when I make bubble letters, I always start out with a single letter, a single pencil stroke rather, and then I go next to it and make them wider. That's my big secret for bubble letters. Not very tricky. And, as always, use the art supplies that work for you today. You get to decide. So, here's my world. So here's North America, part of South America, and part of the continent of Africa. And there we go. Now, what I'm going to do is go over my pencil with Sharpie so you can see it. You don't have to do that though. I just thought since we're filming, and it might be easier for you to see my pencil if I went over it with Sharpie. Some of you probably know already, the reason I use Sharpie sometimes for drawing over pencil is it won't smear. So if marker gets on it, it won't smear. Paint gets on it, it won't smear. Nothing wrong with regular marker, but it can smear when it gets wet, and it can smear from other markers. So that's why I do this trick a lot, because it can make it be easier. So there, here's my letters. Now we haven't painted in a few lessons, so if you want to paint, please do. You can do this any way you want. Okay, my letters. Let's pretend I made that word over there. It's the same word, so I'm taking a little shortcut. I would do this symbol with some red. Now is where we're going to do lots and lots and lots of shortcuts so that my demonstration is faster. I would do my letters red. I would do my continents green. Bet you already figured that out. And I could do my water blue. And if my letters are red and my peace symbol is red, I would probably want a cool color for my background, because this is warm, and this is warm, even though I didn't finish it because of my shortcut. So how about a nice purple? Okay, so we're going to pretend I finished this, and we're going to pretend that I colored in the areas where I didn't really do all the coloring, because the book was a little bit long, and I don't want my lesson to be so long that you all get bored. All right, boys and girls, have fun with your one wish. I miss you. Happy art.